Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. I wondered how long that cup of coffee had been sitting there. It looked as if an untidy person enjoyed reading in the living room. Pfft, untidy. A little judgmental there, aren't you, Michael? If this is untidy, you'd have loved to see my old apartment. Ooh, this game's getting kind of chilling. Ah, looks like a study of sorts. This game does have a lot of reading, so I'm going to do my best to liven it up with some acting. The stone in the fireplace was cold to the touch. Remnants of a previous fire. Okay. That, and there's, unfortunately, the music disappears for a lot of the time, because I know it's just me pretty much carrying this. So. The glass was empty. Pity. I could have used a drink. You refused it earlier! It's kind of silly. Ooh. No. Smoking can kill you. Especially when the cigars are decades old. Yeah, I'm not a smoker. Much less a cigar smoker. I have no idea whether cigars get better with age. Oh, I love these. Oh, I was hoping it was a globe that actually opened up and was actually a little, a bar. I really want to get one of those whenever I eventually settle down, get my own place, house, or whatever. So this is just a globe, it looks like. Obviously we're here. It's an old globe, too. There's the United States over there. USA! USA! God, clocks everywhere. Most of the clocks in the house weren't working. Several trophies for remarkable accomplishments adorn the room. A diploma granting the title of construction engineer to James T. Blackwood. Okay, so that makes sense. Obviously, the James that we've been talking or reading about is James T. Blackwood, and this is the Blackwood Manor. Makes sense. I'm kind of slow like that. The huge collection of books was impressive. I would have gladly spent days going through them. Well, right now we got more important stuff to do, Michael. Let's take a look at this desk. Ah, we got a perpetual motion bit here. That's nice. I'm always intrigued by that. Aw, it doesn't let you do multiple ones. I love these little things. I need one of those for my desk. No. 2 years in East Africa. A journey to the sources of the Nile. I love this game because you really feel like you're a detective. You come into this not knowing anything about what's going on. Nothing. As far as I know, there was no manual for this game. I do own this game. I bought it back in the day, and I played it and I loved it. I know that there is a newer version currently released, I think a year ago on, I plug it all the time, goodoldgames.com. For those of you who want to play it, and I highly recommend it. Plus, it's a director's cut, so there's actually more footage. I do not have the director's cut. It includes a little bit of an epilogue, so to speak. So, don't worry, you're not really missing much. February 6th. The construction of the Railway Bridge is almost complete and went quite smoothly. It took longer than I expected, yet I wish it would have lasted longer. I will be very sad to leave South Africa. I've become so attached to it, its culture, its arts, over the past few months that I can't help feeling as if it was already a part of me. I will surely return someday. Soon, hopefully, although I'm afraid there is a great deal of work to be taken care of back in Old Britain. Fortunately, I made good friends here who are ecstatic about my new appreciation of their country. They have offered me some wonderful objects as a token of gratitude, which I have already crated and got ready to ship, along with many trinkets I bought myself. It looks like I'm about to start a very substantial collection. It's a good thing Catherine agreed to move into our new home, although I feared several renovations will have to be made. Even more if I'm intending to start a serious new hobby. It seems I'll have to get back to work. John Patterson has just told me some natives are causing trouble. A very unfortunate thing, although I'm secretly rejoicing. February 12th. The natives won't leave. It's not like they're causing trouble so much as they're unsettling our workers. The only complaint so far has been distraction. They just stand still between the trees, staring at us, without blinking an eye. I've watched them for a few minutes, and they truly seem like some tenebrous statues. At first it was just annoying, but lately it has become downright creepy. They seem to be stalking us. So it's not like they're hindering the construction, but there is a general uneasy feeling as if they were about to jump at us at any moment. I think I will hire some protection as a measure of precaution. Yeah, I'm doing this in my natural accent, just to change things up a little bit. February 15th. Fascinating! I've been looking into these natives. They live in a nearby village and are a very small group, yet they seem to manage quite well. I had thought of them as quite an uncivilized tribe, but their movements are calculated, and one can perceive a sense of careful organization in their tasks. Oddly enough, they seem to be very brutish, and their aspect looks awful, although I couldn't take a good look at their facial features as I followed one of them completely on my own, and it could have been dangerous getting any closer. Also, the village is poor and very rough, but some of the shacks leapt out as uninviting or special. It made me very curious. I will try to come closer tomorrow. February 16th. My second expedition to the village of the natives has been foiled by an unexpected problem at the bridge. I'm afraid it was due to a slight miscalculation on my part, an indication that I should be focusing more on the task at hand and put my sudden love for all African things aside for a moment. It was my fault, and I accept it. February 20th. They are at it again, lurking beyond the forest. It's amazing how they've changed our perception of the surroundings. At first we were delighted by the quiet nature of the place. Now we fear what horrors might be concealed in that dark and foreboding cloak of trees. The tops loom above us, overshadowing the bridge, and strange noises haunt our meals. Even the river telling ungodly secrets. We could be, of course, a bit more sensitive towards distractions, but I can't help feeling the area has, in fact, become more sinister. And yet, I'm still looking forward to satisfying my curiosity about the tribe. February 24th. At last I found something more about the neighboring tribe. This is an incredible finding, and I just can't withhold my excitement. Some elders at the local town happen to know about them, but only through stories they heard. The most surprising thing is that the tribe was assumed to be extinct long ago, but according to my vague descriptions, the elders think that we could be dealing with a legend here. Everything they ever learned of them was during their childhood, when the tribe was stalking the town, much in the same way they have been stalking us. People used to call them Dahanan. As such was the sound of screams heard echoing late in the night. They come out into the streets and see an evil glitter atop a hill in the distance. Some would say it was a fire, others the cursed spirit of an ancient god. Whatever it was, they say the bright light, amid those fantastic screams, was bone-chilling. The macabre scene would suddenly stop, just as it had begun out of nowhere, never to be seen again in days to come. Intervals between those horrible nights became longer and longer, until they soon faded into oblivion. The tribe apparently had retreated back into obscurity, until now. They were later known as the Dalmar, a rather more scientific name, although none of the people I spoke with could possibly remember its origin. I find it extremely surprising that nobody has ever heard about the tribe, with the exception of a few townspeople. They must be incredibly rare. And judging by the stories passed on from generations in the town, very old. February 27th. I will confess that I've become nearly obsessed with this strange tribe. I see them as the most prized goal of my appreciation towards all South African things. A dangerous yet irresistible reward. I feel as if they were my discovery. I simply have to study them before leaving. I fear I won't have the chance to do so ever again. It has become an important goal of mine, even more important than finishing the bridge. March 4th. Finally, I have managed to see them. My God, what a disturbing spectacle. When we arrived, they were moving around the village very slowly, without speaking or communicating with each other, each minding his or her own business, completely alien to the rest of the world. They were filthy looking, coarse and downright disgusting. I couldn't see any weapons, but they could have been stored somewhere. It was all very strange behavior in a tribe. They must be quite unique. Then, as if they had suddenly all become possessed by some wild spirit, they began shaking sporadically and screaming like mad. Some of them dropped to their knees and lifted their heads to the sky, eyes blank and moaning in an indescribable way. 2 of them walked away, still in that monotonous and slow manner, and in great contrast to the rest of the scene, into a shack. The next minute they brought out into the open an odd-looking mask. Its shapes, colors, and overall looks, while unsettling, were mesmerizing, and I felt instantly hypnotized by it. It rendered my modest collection of African curiosities into dull and uninteresting items. The mask was very ominous, and the whole tribe seemed to greatly revere it. Soon they began to gather around it and move in circles, fluttering and chanting a guttural psalm. Judging by their motions and aspect of the whole ritual, it must have been some kind of war ritual. I'm not sure how to explain what happened next, as I feel my pulse is already throbbing. Words fail me to recount the most disturbing thing I've ever witnessed. One of the male villagers walked into the middle, near the mask, by his own will. It was an almost automatic act. All of a sudden, the remaining members became silent. I can't tell for how long it lasted, but I was afraid to breathe. I think Dalby and the others were also scared. They wouldn't even blink. I remember being soaked wet and expectant. The silence was so unnatural. Then a few members separated from the people circling the mask and jumped on the single villager, beating him to death. To be completely faithful to the event, the small crowd tore him apart. They grabbed his legs in 2s and 3s and twisted them in a manner I dare not describe. His face was disfigured with their bare fingernails and teeth, and the torso soon disappeared under the frenzied tangle of hands. In a matter of a few minutes, the villager was turned into a red sack of bones. Not one of the attackers had the compassion to snap his neck during the sickening process. It all was very methodical, as if it was just another mundane task. The most terrifying aspect, though, was that the victim didn't even cringe. The silence was so deep, I could hear his flesh ripping. I would expect any living creature to scream, its guts out in such a condition. I can't tell whether he was drugged or half asleep. But I did recognize him dancing like everybody else before, walking into the middle of the circle. It was the most outrageous and sadistic sacrifice I've ever heard of. I don't think I will ever forget what I saw. My intentions of approaching further, even if they didn't have any weapons at hand, vanished. These beings, could have killed my whole company in the blink of an eye with their rage. They seemed to be completely out of themselves and willing to destroy anything intruding into their rank. While the images of the sacrifice still haunt my thought, I still can't seem to forget that mask. It was so deceptively simple, and yet perfect in its design. I haven't seen anything like it. I surely would love to take a better look. I feel the Dalmar, dangerous as they are, could be the most important ethical finding in decades. What I've seen today is crying for further investigation. I just can't leave them like that. I would never forgive myself. And the mask. That mask. I was ecstatic after reading the journal. The material was incredible. Whew. And on that note, I think that's a perfectly good time to call this a first recording for this Let's Play. I'm basically really getting freaked out, and I kind of want to stop. Thanks for watching. Kronos006 signing out. Back soon with more. Stay tuned.